Okay. So in the time that we have, we won't have time for you to follow me. So you can just chant with me if you can. Otherwise, just listen. Om Mama Upata Shri Parameshwara Mama Upata Duritar Kshayat Parameshwara Prithiyartham Aham Shri Vidya Siddhyartham Cha Aham Idam Pujam Karishye. Om Gajananam Bhutganati Sevitam Kapitha Jambhu Phalasara Bhakshitam Umasutam Shoka Vinashakaranam Namami Vigneshwara Pada Panchakam. Om. 1 minute. Have it reversed. Om Sumukhaya Namaha. Om Ekadantaya Namaha. Om Kapilaya Namaha. Om Gajakarnakaya Namaha. Om Lambodharaya Namaha. Om Vikataya Namaha. Om Vignarajaya Namaha. Om Vinayakaya Namaha. Om Dhumaketave Namaha. Om Ganadhakshaya Namaha. Om Phalachandraya Namaha. Om Gajananaya Namaha. Om Vaktatundaya Namaha. Om Shurpakarnaya Namaha. Om Herambhaya Namaha. Om Skandapurvajaya Namaha. Om Shri Siddhivinayakaya Swamine Namaha. Om Spatikarachita Varnam Mauktakim Akshamalam Amrita Kalasha Vidyam Jnanamudram Karagre Dadata Muragakaksham Chandrachudam Trinetram Vidrada Virdabhusham Dakshina Murtamide. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshina Murtaye Mahyam Shriyam Medham Pragyam Prayacha Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshina Murtaye Mahyam Shriyam Medham Pragyam Prayacha Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Dakshina Murtaye Mahyam Shriyam Medham Pragyam Prayacha Swaha. Om Omkar Simha Sarvendraya Namaha. Om Omkarodhyana Kokilaya Namaha. Om Omkara Nirshukaraje Namaha. Om Omkararanya Kunjaraya Namaha. Om Nagaraja Sutajanaye Namaha. Om Nagaraja Nijalayaya Namaha. Om Navamanikyamadhyaya Namaha. Om Navachandrashikhamanaye Namaha. Om Nandita Shesha Maunindraya Namaha. Om Nandishadimadeshikaya Namaha. Om Moha Narasudhasaraya Namaha. Om Mohambhuja Sudhakaraya Namaha. Om Mohandakara Taranaye Namaha. Om Mohotparanabho Manaye Namaha. Om Bhakta Jnanabdhi Shitanshave Namaha. Om Bhakta Jnanatilaya Namaha. Trinalayaya Namaha. Om Bhaktamboja Sahasranshave Namaha. Om Bhakta Keki Ghana Ghanaya Namaha. Om Bhakta Kairavara Kendave Namaha. Om Bhakta Koka Divakaraya Namaha. Om Gajananadi Sampujyaya Namaha. Om Gajacharmo Jwalakritaye Namaha. Om Ganga Dhaval Divyangaya Namaha. Om Ganga Pankila Sajjadaya Namaha. Om Gaganambara Samvitaya Namaha. Om Gaganamukta Murthajaya Namaha. Om Vadanabdajitabja Shriye Namaha. Om Vadanendu Supuruddhishaya Namaha. Om Varadanaika Nipunaya Namaha. Om Vanaviro Jwalatkaraya Namaha. Om Vanavasa Samullasaya Namaha. Om Vanaviraika Lolupaya Namaha. Om Tejav Bhunja Ghanakaraya Namaha. Om Tejasamapi Bhasakaya Namaha. Om Vineyanam Tejav Pradaya Namaha. Om Tejo Maya Nijashramaya Namaha. Om Damitananga Sangramaya Namaha. Om Darahas Jitanganaya Namaha. Om Dayarasa Sudha Sindhave Namaha. Om Daridradhanashe Vadhaye Namaha. Om Shirendu Spatikakaraya Namaha. Om Shirendu Mukutojwalaya Namaha. Om Shiropahara Rasikaya Namaha. Om Shipraishvarya Phalapradaya Namaha. ॐ नानाभरणमुग्धाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ नारीसम्मोहनाकृतये नमः। ॐ नागब्रह्मरसास्वादिने नमः। ॐ नागभूषणभूषिताय नमः। ॐ मूर्तिनिन्दितकन्दर्पाय नमः। ॐ मूर्तामूर्तजगद्वपुषे नमः। ॐ मूलाज्ञानतमोभानवे नमः। ॐ मूर्तिमत्कल्पपादपाय नमः। ॐ तरुणादित्यसङ्काशाय नमः। ॐ तन्त्रीवादनतत्पराय नमः। ॐ तरुमूलैकनिलयाय नमः। ॐ तप्तजाम्बूनदप्रभाय नमः। ॐ तत्त्वपुस्तोलसत्पाणये नमः। ॐ तपुनोडुपलोचनाय नमः। ॐ यमसंयमसत्कीर्तये नमः। ॐ यमसंयमसंयुताय नमः। ॐ यतिरूपधराय मौनिने नमः। ॐ यतीन्द्रोपासविग्रहाय नमः। ॐ मन्दारहाररुचिराय नमः। ॐ मदनायुतसुन्दराय नमः। ॐ मन्दस्मितलसत्वक्त्राय नमः। ॐ मधुराधरपल्लवाय नमः। ॐ मञ्जीरमञ्जुपादाब्जाय नमः। ॐ मणिपट्टोलसत्कटये नमः। ॐ हस्ताङ्कुरितचिन्मुद्राय नमः। ॐ हठयोगपरोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ हंसजप्याक्षमालाढ्याय नमः। ॐ हंसेद्वाराद्यपादुकाय नमः। ॐ मेरुशृङ्गतटोल्लासाय नमः। ॐ मेघश्याममनोहराय नमः। ॐ मेधाङ्कुरालवालाग्र्याय नमः। ॐ मेधापक्वफलद्रुमाय नमः। ॐ धर्ममार्गप्रवर्तकाय नमः। ॐ धामत्रयनिजारामाय नमः। ॐ धर्मोत्तममनोरथाय नमः। ॐ प्रबोधोद्गारदीपश्रिये नमः। ॐ प्रकाशितजगत्र्याय नमः। ॐ प्रज्ञाचन्द्रशिलाचन्द्राय नमः। ॐ प्रज्ञामणिवराकराय नमः। ॐ ज्ञानान्तरभासात्मने नमः। ॐ ज्ञातृविदादिविदूरगाय नमः। ॐ ज्ञानज्ञाद्वैतदिव्याङ्गाय नमः। ॐ ज्ञातृख्यालिकुलागताय नमः। ॐ प्रपन्नपारिजाताग्र्याय नमः। ॐ प्रणतार्थप्तिवाडवाय नमः। ॐ भूतानां प्रमाणभूताय नमः। ॐ प्रपञ्चहितकारकाय नमः। ॐ यत्तत्त्वमसि संवेद्याय नमः। ॐ यक्षगेयात्मवैभवाय नमः। ॐ यज्ञादिदेवतामूर्तये नमः। ॐ ज्ञानवपुर्धराय नमः। ॐ छत्राधिपतिविश्वेशाय नमः। ॐ छत्रसामरसेविताय नमः। ॐ छन्दशास्त्रादिनिपुणाय नमः। ॐ छलजात्यादिदूर्गाय नमः। ॐ स्वाभाविकसुखैकात्मने नमः। ॐ स्वानुभूतिरसोदधये नमः। ॐ स्वाराज्यसम्पदध्यक्षाय नमः। ॐ स्वात्माराममहामतये नमः। ॐ हाटकाभजटाजूटाय नमः। ॐ हासोदस्तारिमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ हालाहलोज्ज्वलगलाय नमः। ॐ हार्दग्रन्थिविमोचकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीमेधादक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः। ॐ श्रीमत्परमहंसपरिव्राजकाचार्यवर्य श्रीदयानन्दसद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ श्रीमहेशानन्दसद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। Is the camera angle okay?
Yeah, you can move a little closer to the TV there.
I can, or the TV can also move. No, the TV should not move.
I'm trying not to move it.
How about that? Is this okay? Okay. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavatyaptadehaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Gukarastvandhakaro Vai Rukarastvannivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvat Gururitya Vidhiyate Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let's chant the first few verses of Advaita Prakarana. We will chant the first five verses of Advaita Prakarana. Upasana Shrito Dharmaha Jate Brahmani Vartate Prag Utpatte Rajam Sarvam Tena Sau Kripana Smritaha. Let me put audio on before we continue. Then verse number 2. Ato vakshamyakarpanyam Chamakarpanyam Ajati Samatam Gatam Yatha na jayate kinchit Jayamanam samantataha Atma hyakashavat jivaihi Ghatakashayrivoditaha Ghatakasharivodita Ghatadivaccha sanghataihi Divaccha sanghataihi Jata vetan nidarshanam Jata veta nidarshanam Veta nidarshanam Ghatadishu pralineshu Ghatakashadayo yatha Akashe sampraliyante Tadvat jiva ihatmani Yathaika asmin ghatakashe Rajo dhumadibhiryute Na sarve samprayujyante Tadvat jiva sukhadibihi. So we began the Advaita Prakaranam by the teaching which says that our normal ways of looking at ourselves in our lives, doing puja, and to take the help of Ishvara, etc., is still just a sadhana. It's not the ultimate in life. So the word kripanaha means that you're saving your assets and not utilizing them. That's the word the kripanaha means. So upasana ashritaha dharma means that even a sense of being very grateful for Ishvara and so on and so forth, and having a prayerful attitude towards Ishvara, etc., which is necessary, but not final. Not final. Because basically that means that you are still on the way. You haven't reached the goal. You're trying to be independent, which is good, but it is not really the ultimate. The ultimate is when you recognize that you yourself, not the jiva, which we will discuss in a minute, what the word the jiva means, but not the person that you think you are, but the person that you really are, not what you think you are, but what you really are. That is the ultimate goal. And so that is when you recognize the very sampatti, the very wealth that you have, you're just not using it, that's all. And either, so this is interesting, either you're not using it because you don't know it, or you're not using it because something is making you not completely trust who you are. It's kind of like, we have taken this example, this word kripanaha means miser, means that if someone discovers that I've got a lot of legacy money from some distant relative, and you don't know it first, finally you're told, hey, some aunt at a distant place has given you this much money, it's more than you need. This is you just looking at a normal life, but this is something where you don't have to work, you don't have to do anything. This is like $1 million, $10 million, $50 million. So that one you didn't know. And so you should be excused for not using that money because you don't have that money. But suppose you are given that money and it's been deposited in your bank, but now you don't use it because you are still used to the old way of leading your life, not fully utilizing your assets, then you are called a kripana. So here in the status in our life where I begin to see the presence of Ishvara as the very owner of this whole creation, and to know that I am not alone, there is someone who is behind me all the way, and I just have to relax and enjoy the newfound knowledge about the whole world and Ishvara and myself. You should relax. You should, just like this person who was given this huge amount of money, he should relax. He should not worry about where my next meal is going to come from. He should just relax in this newfound wealth. But then the newfound wealth should now percolate in your life so that your entire life changes. It's not as though you keep it on the side and then you still have the relatively miserable life that you're leading, worrying about small things and so on, but don't tap into this wealth that you should have. And so that's the next step, which is to utilize and to give in completely to the wealth. It is there. And so this is the difference between the first verse, which is, as the Advaita Prakarana begins with. So you should know how this proceeds. Upasana shritaha dharmaha jate brahmani vartate. Means that you are dealing with jate brahmani. Jate brahmani means one which has been created. You're dealing with a creation. You were dealing with vyavaharika sat. That's all you're doing. And you are not crossing the limits of vyavahara and gone into paramarthika. And so he says, Tena asau kripana smritaha. Please see, let me be frank, I will call you a miser. No one has dared to raise their voice and tell you that you are not utilizing your full wealth, but you are not. And therefore you deserve to be called a kripana. And so at this point in time, it is not as though you have not discovered the wealth, because that is all part of the Shravanam very early on. We are now into the doubts. Because, if somebody comes into your house and say, by the way, you now have $50 million, that's not something that I can really grasp very easily. Even though the person seems to be very sincere and it seems to be well articulated, but still I just have my own doubts. Really? I can't believe this. How can this happen to me? So those doubts are very natural. And so there is a certain amount of reassurance that needs to be done. And so that is really where the stage we are in the Advaita Prakarana, where it gives you different, it gave us the logic in the previous Prakaranam, Vaitatya Prakaranam, because it says that, like a lawyer would say, listen, this aunt of yours she was a billionaire, and she has given half of it to charity. She doesn't have any other family members. And it turns out that your mother was very helpful to her, and she really she saved her life. She was very devoted. And your mother has passed away, and so you're the only son. And so your aunt has said that this should go to her family. So these are the various logical things that are given to reassure you as to where you are. So very similar to that is the Vaitatya Prakaranam, that listen, please see that anything that changes is mithya. Don't you see that you are not a changing one, you are okay. So all of those kinds of logical steps were given. So here, by saying that if you simply stop at the upasana of the Ishvara and not go any further, then I have to call you a miser. This is not it. You have not used the full wealth. And so let me tell you what the full wealth is. And so with the second verse it says, Ataha vakshyami akarpanyam. So let me now tell you what is not miserly. Akarpanyam. Kripanasya bhavam karpanyam. Akarpanyam is just the opposite. What is mean by being a wealthy? And then ajati samatam gatam. So we saw this, that you should see that one that is here but never born. This is the definition of the complete difference between what you are involved in and what you are. You see, that's the thing. Supposing there is, you define things, you're discussing some things as to what is it, and so on, and you discover when was it born, when did it get started. So if somebody says, no, it was always been like this. So even mountains that have been there for a long, long time, there's someone which says it got started at a particular time. So everything has a start. So you never have anything that does not start. Otherwise, you won't believe it is there. But this has an exception, and that is you. You, the Sakshi, whose Swarupa is I know. I am knowledge. This is never born. And so he says, I'm going to explain. So avakshyami means it's not as though I have not done it before, but I'll again point out what is the true nature of yourself, one which is never born. Yatha na jayate kinchit, one which was never started. Jayamanam samantataha, one which is never changing, which is always there. So this you should be clear about. That is the true wealth that you should possess. As Swami Paramarthananda says, a beautiful word, you should claim it. You should claim it. It's a very beautiful word. That's a new word that I have not seen before. It means that you should claim your wealth. And so Gaudapadaji in the Karika says, let me tell you about what you need to claim. Go visit the banker and tell him, I want this money for my use every day. You're shy of doing it, you are just a miser, don't be such that. It is yours, get it. Then, in verse number 3, which we did last week, it now talks about the apparent creation. Because we see the creation. We see the creation. If some of you were there on the Tuesday night, there was a student who I won't name, but she said she goes to these interfaith conferences. And she said, so when, and even now she was asking, so when did this creation begin? So I told her there is no real creation. She says, I cannot say this in the interfaith creation because I am here as a creation, so people will laugh at me. So I told her the best remedy is don't even go to the interfaith things. Just stay within yourself, and if you want to discuss with us, then please clarify it. But there is no use going to these interfaith conferences. It is a complete waste of time. Because you are right, people will laugh at you. Anything you say after that, they will start looking at their iPhone. She doesn't make any sense. So don't do that. So here, the apparent creation is a very serious topic because the Shastra does talk about creation. As we will see today also, I'll cite some verses from Taittiriya Upanishad. So the Shastra does talk about creation. So the question is, if the Shastra is talking about creation, how can you say there is no real creation? And so the answer to that is that exactly as what I was talking about, the example of the interfaith conference, that for the interfaith conference, you should say there is a creation. For people that are not really, they are casual about it, they are not willing to go into the depth of it. It's like a child. You don't talk about philosophy to a child. Or when there is a bereavement. There's another thing Swami Dayanandji had really taught us quite well. He says, when you go, you're asked to speak on a bereavement. Then don't start to talk about highfalutin ideas that, Atma doesn't die. Just don't say things like that. I mean, unless the people that are asking you kindly please give us the background on it, that's a different thing. But just grieve with them. And so, either talking to a child or in a bereavement and so on, just talk about creation as though it is there. But inside of you, you should know there is no real creation. That is the difference between a miser and a person who has completely internalized the new wealth. So this is what being talking about. And then it says, in order to see this, this is an important thing. Let's start on a segment which we have talked about before, but just in the context of this teaching, let us look at this example. Akasha. Akasha. And how things are born from the Akasha. Okay? So now the next few verses are talked about the apparent creation from space, related to space. And so quite a few verses on that, and we will spend some time on it. But before I get there, before I go into this example of the Akasha and the apparent creation from it, in the third verse, Atma hi akashavat jivaihi ghatakashaihi iva uditaha. So he says that the jiva, which is you and I, as people moving around, talking, listening, so on and so forth, these are born out of, as though we are born out of the Atma. Just like things are born out of the Akasha. So this is the example that we will spend a few minutes in a few minutes. But before we get there, let us see the definition of a jiva. Who is a jiva? Okay, so let's spend some time. This is also given in the explanation by Swami Maheshananji on the third verse. So I'm going to borrow his explanation. And oh, sorry. Yeah. I should put a nice bookmark. I didn't realize it. Okay. So here, Swami Maheshananji says, let us define who a jiva is. Okay? A jiva is defined as kshetragyaha. Kshetragyaha. So now I can turn on. I did this yesterday. I was just looking at this. I said it would be worth talking. So you look at, hopefully this works. Perfect. So the jiva is called a kshetragyaha, the knower of the field. You're going to adjust this a little bit?
Yeah, the TV is a little big.
Is it? Shall we move the TV a little bit closer to me? Because there's quite a bit of space gap here. Hold on just a second. How about this?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
Everybody can see the edges also?
Slide the text
Can
up.
you see the bottom?
Slide the text up.
Or write the text up. I'm not doing it because I've got some other things that I want to reveal. I should do that from... Anyway, no, this is nothing to be... this is okay. Yeah, good. So the jiva is called a kshetragya. So this is an important concept. Let's just concentrate on that for just a few minutes, and then we will go back to the example of the akasha. So this is a detour on it, but it's a useful detour. So in the Bhagavad Gita also, in the 13th chapter, this is a very famous chapter where all the main qualities of life, amanitvam, 20 qualities of life are given. And this is the basis of the Swami Dayanandaji's book, Value of Values. And so this is the sixth or seventh verse, I think, of the 13th chapter. But in the second verse of the 13th chapter, Sri Krishna says, Kshetragyam cha api mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. He says, hey Arjuna, please see that you are a kshetragya. Okay? So, here Swami Maheshananji has explained this so well in a big 2 or 3 big paragraphs. So he says, here's the thing. So one thing to know here is, well, let's continue with this. So knower of the field means you are a caretaker of a field that you are entrusted with. This is what kshetragya means. You are the operator of a field. So imagine this to be a field of an agricultural field. Agricultural field where, very interestingly enough, you get to sow and reap repeatedly. There is a piece of land which is given to you. You see, this is an important thing. So all these words are important. The field is given to you. And really speaking, at this point in time, I think we can understand, I think we have talked about in this class, and I'm also explaining this in the Gita class, there is a concept of the owner of something and the trustee of something. This is a very important concept that we should really understand and really adopt in our lives. So here, the owner is defined to be the one who creates it, who is the very designer of it, who owns the whole thing, is called a creator. Owner. You can say owner. And so the owner, for example, is in Hindi is called Malik. Malik means the person who really owns the whole thing. So here you can say that the field is not created by you. The concept that you can sow things on it, that it's a very beautiful thing, how the earth has aushadhis in it, and you put water on it, and the roots grow, and life comes out of it. And it is sustained by it. This is all Ishvara's thinking. It's not like the scientists did it. So the owner of, the creator of a field is really Ishvara. And you are the person who is running the field, who is responsible for the field. Because Ishvara has now created the concept that there will be an earth, and the earth will have some bugs in it, and it will have fertilizers, and all you have to do is to put some water into it. Water is also given to you, but you have to put the water in, and then you can have a crop, you can sustain yourself, and then the crop dies, and then you have to you have to redo it. All those kinds of concepts are given by Ishvara, but then you have to do it. Okay? So now, here is our situation. As a jiva, as a person, I have a field to work with. I am given a body, which is a field. Body is a field. And I am aware of my body. I'm aware of my senses. I'm aware of my mind. I'm aware of food. I'm aware of hunger. This is the whole field, a very sophisticated field. And this sophisticated field, some of it is common amongst all of us, and some of it is unique to us. Each one has a kind of a personalized field to work with. And you are the operator of the field. You have to manage it. You have to sow things, you have to work, and so on. Now, the results of sowing things is a crop. So imagine an owner leasing the land to you. You don't really own it, as it happens in India. Most of the land is not owned. There is some other rich person who owns the land, and you are supposed to work on it, and then you are given a certain percentage of the crop, and the rest of the percentage you just give it to someone else. So similarly is the field that Ishvara has created for us. He is the owner. Now, if we think we are the owners, we worry about the results. We are the ones who feel this is my life and I am responsible for it. I have to figure out how best to do it, and so on and so forth, means that all the results that come to you, you own. You keep it to yourself. You don't even think about another person involved. Other than your own family and so on and so forth, you may give some money to your sons and daughters and spouses and so on, but this is you. Then you will have a problem. It is just like a problem where you sow the crop, you get the crop, and you don't give it anything back to the owner. And Swami Maheshananji says, this is exactly the situation where your attitude is, this is my life, I own it, I am responsible for it. You don't even think about who the owner is. You act as the owner. You don't have a concept that I am just an operator, I'm just a trustee. You don't have that. You haven't brought Ishvara into the picture at all. You have not investigated it. You just assume this is all mine. In which case, you will be punished. You will be punished. The police is going to catch you. And the punishment is you will be born and dying again and again. You're not getting anywhere. You've had this kind of a life many times before. You're not getting anywhere. Again, you are involved with my family, my wealth, and I gotta go on vacation. You don't understand who the owner is, what the whole thing is all about. And that means that you're confused, you haven't really taken a look at it, and the result is you don't get any freedom whatsoever. That is our problem. And so the thing to do is you use the field properly. need some things for your wants, surely get it. But always remember that the field belongs to someone else. And if you do that, you will gain the total freedom that you are asking. So in the Bhagavad Gita also, for example, in the 18th verse, 18th chapter, 46th verse, it is a very important verse. That's one of the favorites of Swami Viditatmananda ji also. Swakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. That means, and so this is the topic that we are going to talk about in the Gita today also. That means your attitude and your work and so on and so forth must be taken as a prayer to Ishvara. Tam swakarmana. Swakarmana means that your own work, it's not as though your actions will change, but your attitude is that the field belongs to Ishvara. He is the giver of it, and you take anxiety and worry out of your life. And if the rains didn't come one year, don't commit suicide, for heaven's sake, because things will be okay. That was just an off year. Think that there is someone who's taking care of you. Do the best you can, and crops will come again. So the results will be given by Ishvara. Don't worry about that part of it. So this is the definition of Jiva. So Atma hi akashavat jivaihi. The Jiva's definition is kshetragya. Kshetragya. Kshetragya means one who is in charge, one who knows the particular life, but who doesn't think of yourself as an owner. And this is exactly another way to what we did in the Vaithatya Prakaranam. These are all consistent. In the previous Prakaranam, the Kshetragyaha is the dreamer in the dream. So the dreamer in a dream has a special place in the dream. Why? Because everything else is dreamt for the dreamer. But the dreamer remains the same. You see, in the dream, the dreamt things keep on changing. All the scenery keeps on changing. But the dreamer remains the same. And the dreamer remaining the same creates a false identification, thinking that this is the real me. And I am suffering, I am enjoying. You don't say I'm dreaming. You don't say that. You are transacting. And you are constant. So this is the Kshetragyaha. The Kshetragyaha is the dreamer. Kshetragyaha here means you are not the ultimate. It is the owner who is the ultimate. And you are there to enjoy and to work and to provide some continuity, but you are not the sufferer. You should wake up to that point. And in fact, this is something unique. In the case of a field of agricultural field, the owner is different from you. But in this particular case, as we will see now back into Akashavat, as we will see here, by giving up the sense of jivatvam, you actually acquire the sense of complete ownership. In fact, the owner is nothing but you. The owner has so much money which belongs to you, but you are not utilizing it. And that money means complete freedom. The Ishvara's freedom is your freedom. And so the Jivatma doesn't understand that I am the Paramatma. This is the result of giving up your Jivatvam. Swami Dayananji used to say that. He says, what we don't realize is that because we don't want to give up what we have. We have some possessions, some money, some name, fame, and that is very dear to us. Now, we don't realize the other side of the coin, that because you feel good about your possessions. I've done a lot in my life. I've studied hard. I'm married. I've had children. I'm compared to a lot of other people, I'm doing okay. I'm doing very well. I'm happy. Okay. What we don't realize is that you haven't gone to the next step. This is the whole thing about verse number 1, where the Kripanaha means that you are still okay with being limited. And there will come a time when even this limitation will also will kill you. You will die with it. So if you want freedom, then even say that I'm thankful for what I have, but I have a lot more to go. I got a lot of things that I still have to accomplish. And then you begin the process of saying, you are the unborn. And so there we now go back to the understanding of Akasha. So now we should see this. So here another important concept to see, which I also didn't quite understand for quite a while. It took me a lot of reading and a lot of analysis, a lot of thinking over the years. And that is, how are the 5 Pancha Mahabhutas affecting my life? The 5 elements, Akasha, Vayu, etc. Where am I? What is my constituent? So here what we should see is that the 5 elements are born from each other. And the most subtle element is Akasha. This is the part that I struggled with, and nobody was able to really fully explain this to me until a lot of analysis had to go through and so on. And even when I read Einstein's biography and so on, and finally started to really make things very clear. And now I am convinced that what happens is that successively the elements are born from the earlier ones. And the earliest one, which is Akasha, is born from Atma, myself. So if you know those of you that studied the Taittiriya Upanishad in the very beginning of the Brahmananda Valli, so let me just repeat it. Brahmavid apnoti param tadesha bhyukta satyam jnanam anantam brahma yo veda nihitam guhayam parame vyoman
Soshnute sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipaschiteti. Tasmat vai etasmat atmanah akashaha sambhutah. It means that the akash, first he defines what is Brahman, what is Atma. Then he says, from this Atma, Akasha is born. And this is very much like when a dream is born from your own consciousness. So the touchability, the seeability of the dream, which is phenomenal. You can see light with your eyes closed, and you have a sense of touch, you have heat, you have cold, and you have solidity, and you have thoughts. All those are born from your consciousness alone. They don't born in the dream. Where did they come from? The Atma is capable enough because of Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Because it is, so here we will study someplace else, that just like all the ornaments are born from gold, the Karana from all the ornaments, everything is born from the Atma. How is that? How can we accept it? Because everything is, and period. Everything is, period. And I am the source of isness. So when you say the table is, that isness of the table comes from me. It borrows from me and exists under certain conditions. And if the table is gone, the carpet is. So is always there. That is you. So that is the gold of the ornament. The isness and the knowledge and the ananda all belongs to you. So you are from which the whole creation comes up in a dream. Atmanaha akasha sambhutaha. Similarly is the case here. We don't understand it, but if we look into it, you find that my entire Jagrat Avastha, the entire experience, really evolves out of me. I am the source of isness. The world is not the source of it. It enjoys my isness. Not the isness of the jiva, by the way, but the isness of the Atma, which is the same as the isness of the Brahman. There's only one isness. Anyway, going back to this one here, tasmat va etasmat atmanah akashah sambhutah. Then from there the successive Panchamahabhutas are born. Akashat Vayu. And this is the part that I had not really understood. I also didn't understand that the Akasha that we see is not the Akasha that it is there. It really has all of the elements, including air, and the air, from the air is born the Agni, and from the Agni is born the water, and from the water is born the Prithvi, and from the Prithvi all the Oshadhis are born. then from there the food is born. And from there, so Akashat Vayuhu, this is Taittiriya Upanishad that we have studied. Vayoho Agnihi, Agnehi Apaha, Adbhyaf Prithvi. Adbhyaf means from Apaha. Prithvi, Prithivya Oshadhayaha, Oshadhibhyo Annam, Annat Purushaha. Sava Esha Purushaho Anna Rasamayaha. Tasya eva idam shariraha, shiraha, dakshinav pakshaha, uttarav pakshaha. So what it means is, if you look at the successive creations, it all comes from the Atma. And the first real creation, the first apparent real creation is the Akasha. So now we can go back to the example of the Akasha. So what happens is that the Akasha, so one interesting thing to know is that the walls here of the room are also nothing but solidified Akasha. This is the thing to know. It is various stages of solidification. Very much like, suppose you make a vessel out of ice. You make a huge vessel of ice and you put it in water. So now what will happen is that there will be kind of like a pot space inside this vessel which is made out of ice. And there is space outside and there is space inside. And the vessel is also made out of ice, and supposing you have it floating in water, there is water outside, there is water inside the ice bucket. And the ice bucket is also nothing but a solidified water. Everything is nothing but water. This is our situation. What happens is that the Akasha turns into Vayu, Vayu turns into so etc. Finally Prithvi. And so the enclosures are also made out of Akasha, which is solidified Akasha. All the molecular structures through magnetic. So another thing that was very interesting for when I looked into this. So the concept of solidity is false. There is no such thing as solid. But there is apparently solid. So, for example, I can put my hand on this, and it looks like it is very solid. The fact of the matter is that the science tells us that your hand is 99.9% space. The table is also 99.9, many nines. I don't know exactly how many. Many nines. It's like, hundreds of nines. Almost is all space. And so my hand, when it touches the table, it looks like there is one solid object touching the other solid object. But the truth is that is not the case. Because 99% of space, 99%, so what is the chance that the two of them will repel each other? The fact is, there is a magnetic force that repels each other, not the solidity of the things. And the magnetic force is contained in Akasha. It is contained in the Akasha. Magnetic force is in Akasha. Gravitational force is in Akasha. The sound is an akasha. Light is an akasha. Really, the source of all creation is nothing but an akasha. And all of a sudden, you have an akasha which is seemingly enclosed. Seemingly enclosed. And when it gets enclosed, similarly the Atma gets seemingly enclosed as becomes a kshetragya, a jiva. It is a seeming enclosure. So here there are other schools of thought which say the Vedantic concept that there is a single space doesn't make sense. Vedantic concept meaning a single Atma rather, not space, but a single Atma doesn't make sense. Why not? Because if you say you are also Atma, I am also Atma. They say, do you say that? We said, yes. All of us said, you are also same Atma, I am also the same Atma. They say, this doesn't make any sense. We say, why not? Because when you have a problem, I don't have a problem. And when I have a problem, you don't have a problem. And if it is the same Atma, then everybody should have a problem. To which we say, no, this doesn't have to happen. So now look at it. It is the same space, but it has apparent enclosures. And in the apparent enclosures, you can have some uniqueness in that enclosure which doesn't affect the other enclosures in the world. So, for example, in this room, you can have the smoke. It is not happening in the other room. It's only happening here. Or there may be a dust. You just have a dusty pan here, and you move it, and it becomes, the whole air becomes dusty. This may have some pollution. The other room doesn't have a pollution. So similarly here we also say exactly the same situation is there. The Atma, the space remains the same, but the kshetra, the field which may mean dirt, it may mean light, it may mean some other thing, smell. Those are unique to the enclosures. So therefore, instead of identifying with the enclosures, we should identify with the Atma. And so, for example, people will say, you say that I'm the Atma, but I still have sukha dukkha. I still have problems. You say that the Atma is not connected with any sukha dukkha, any problems. But that's my experience. So then, as Swami Maheshananji says, we ask you, how long does the sukha dukkha last? Do you have sukha dukkha when you are in deep sleep? So the person says, no, I don't have it. That means the sukha dukkha is not your nature. So similarly, if the room has dirt, the dirt belongs not to Akasha, but to the room akasha, ghatakasha, not the mahakasha. Mahakasha means just the total akasha, whereas ghatakasha means a room akasha. So any kind of a dirt, any kind of a pollution belongs not to the akasha, but to the manifestation of the akasha within a setting. So the person says, okay, I understand that, but I'm still not a happy person because it happens to me. So then we say, please see, begin to understand that the problems happen in your mind. And the mind does have the ability to have problems, but the mind is not you. You are the Atma, which can be seemingly enclosed by the mind. But you are the Kshetrajna. And it is natural for your experiences to reflect what you have done in the past, but it doesn't belong to you. So start to see the difference between Akasha and Room Akasha. See the Mahakasha with the Ghatakasha. And as you begin to see it, you will see that yes, it is possible, because one thing that comes and goes. Again, the same thing that we did the other day. The definition of mithya is something that begins. Sukha dukkha begins and it will end. It will end. But leaving you unscathed from any problems of any kind. So this is explained I'll quickly just go through all these 3 or 4 verses so that you can review it in the short time and then just look at it. So in number 3, Atma hi akashavat jivaihi ghatakashaihi iva uditaha ghatadivatcha sanghataihi jatau etat nidarshanam. So I'll just read the English translation. Atma is indeed like the space. It is born in the form of jivas, which are like pot spaces. It is born in the form of the bodies, which are also like pots. This is the illustration with respect to the birth of the jivas. Then, in number 4, so number 3 was talking about the birth. Number 4 is talking about the dissolution, not the birth, but the dissolution of the jivas. So, ghatadikshu pralineshu ghatakashadayaha yatha akashe sampraliyante tatvat jiva iha atmani. So he says that your sense of jivatvam, your identity as a jiva, will merge into you, the Atma, because it was born out of you. It is almost like that ice bucket that was born out of the water. And how long is it going to last? When the temperature warms up, it will become nothing but water itself. So here it's interesting, I think elsewhere Swami Maheshanji has pointed out that suppose you have a lump of salt and you have a glass of water, you have a vessel of water, and you have a lump of salt, and you put the lump of salt into the water. And after a while it completely gets dissolved and you don't see the lump of the salt. It's in the water itself. But you know what? Even though it is dissolved into the water, it still is a salt. And it is possible to extract it later on and retain its identity as a salt. But suppose you have these pieces of ice floating around in the water. So when the pieces of ice are floating, even though they are separate from the water, they are made out of the same water. So when they dissolve, they cannot come back like the salt can come back. When we went for our Alaska cruise earlier this year, my wife and I and our Samdhi, my friend, and my son's parents-in-law, we four of us went for a cruise to Alaska. And in the cold side, we saw in the water all these ice pieces floating around. They had just broken off from the mountain. And there were lots of them. There were hundreds of small ice pieces all on the water. And they all looked all different, but they are all going to dissolve. You give them some time and they will all dissolve. And the dissolution there is not like salt. They are in fact the real water. So similarly, the jiva, when it dissolves back into the Atma, it is not like salt. It is in fact nothing but Akasha itself. So in fact, if you suppose you burn a building, supposing a building catches fire. So what happens is, just imagine this, supposing there is a solid building that catches fire. You know what will happen? It will have a reverse flow from Prithvi, because this solid wall means that it is made out of Prithvi, which is the most solidified form of Akasha. Then it would start to melt. It will become watery. And from water, very, very, very briefly, it turns into fire. It catches fire. And from fire, it becomes a pollution. And the pollution also doesn't last very long. It becomes Akasha alone. So it was born out of Akasha and it dissolves into becoming Akasha. Similarly is our situation. We are temporarily dissolved in deep sleep and temporarily dissolved in death. But we still retain some identity, and so we can be born again. But really speaking, we are fundamentally nothing but Atma alone, which is deathless and birthless. And so this process of coming up again and then dissolving again happens, but there is no real birth. It is like a dream-like birth. There is absolutely nothing that will keep it forever. So that's the process that he's explaining, and we will continue with this example next time. But that is the Akashavat Jiva. So he says, not really born. You should concentrate on the unborn rather than the born, which will give you complete wealth of who you really are. Then you will not be a miser. So that's the trend of the teaching. Okay, so we'll start. We'll leave some time for questions. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantām Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahisha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Lokha Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Shobharahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityo Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Yeah.
In the process of creation, everything we had from Atma Akasha, and then from Akasha everything else. So the process, how it goes from Akasha to the other elements seems pretty clear. But what about from Atma to Akasha?
So the Atma to Akasha is born out of ignorance. So so this is the Karana Sharira. And so the Karana Sharira means that there is a desire to be totally free. And because of that, there is an apparent manifestation to try to be free. You're already free, you are already Atma, but there is a apparent coverage of ignorance, Maya. So two answers to your question. One is that just like you start, in fact, there's a good analogy. So the going from Atma to Akasha is just like going from a waker to a dream. So when you go from a waker to a dream, you don't know you are a waker. In the dream, you are covered by ignorance that you are a waker. So this is the nidra. So the sleep creates this for you, is non-understanding that you are a waker. And so the result of the non-understanding is that the consciousness takes a form. And similarly, that is that I don't know that I am the Atma. And therefore, I am born again and again as a waker, as a jiva. And the first thing that happens there is that Akasha is born, time and space. So timelessness and spacelessness, which is Atma, takes the form of timeness and spaceness. That's the first thing. But then you don't stop there. So because the knowledge is I am, but you don't know that you are the very essence of isness and amness. So you want to be someone. So you don't stop and saying that I am. I want to be I am what. So the I am what is the process of creation. And the first element of that is the Akasha. So that's how from the Atma, Akasha is born.
Yeah.
There are two distinct aspects of it. I'm not, I mean, I think I probably should wait until we get into the chapter a little bit more, but there is the unmanifested Atma and the manifested part of it, samsara. So why are we talking about the Akasha going back into Atma already, maybe during Srishti creation it does, but after the Srishti creation, it, if one dies, they don't go back into, the material part does not go back into Atma. So I think they're trying, I think it's,
So you're
is it
saying that
fair
the,
to say we should keep them separate? I mean.
no, so you're saying that the material part never goes back to the
It
Atma?
does, but only during, when there is a, when the cycle ends and.
When, so on.
Yeah.
So no,
It seems to be the way he's explaining it, that every time it goes back to Atma, that is the confusion more, people may have, but I'm not sure.
no, so the thing is that the apparent creation is really what it is. It's not a real creation.
Yeah, that is true, I understand that
Right.
part, but every time a person dies will not be going back into the, Atma state.
So if
Still
you
have
if
the
you look at
manifested part of
yeah, so if you look at the death of a jiva, okay, the death of a jiva is like a deep sleep for a long time. Okay, so the sleep at night time is it's a very good example of death. So you give up your identity as a jiva, you're no longer a jiva, you are just covered by I don't know. So you are you are really just the Atma, except that you are covered with I don't know. In the death, it's the same thing. So when you die for a while until you are, so the only difference is that in a sleep, your identity with the jiva is still there in the same body, the same mind, and after a period of disidentification, you resume your identification. In the case of death, your identification is no longer with the same body because that's no longer usable. So you have to adopt another body because you still don't know who you are. So you still.
But at that point, you're in a stula sharira, subtle body state, not in the Atma state. I mean, you're always the, underlying foundation is always the Atma consciousness, but.
Correct.
Even then you would not know that you.
No, so what you will do is you will have just the subtle body.
Subtle body.
The subtle body is still made out of the 5 elements. Okay, so all the Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi, in a subtle form, a Sattva Guna portion. You are still there. That's what my mind is. So you will have a mind. You will still be there. And through the mind, you will adopt a body and so on and so forth. Now, let's go to the Mahapralaya. In the Mahapralaya, now contrasted from, so let's look at the 3 steps. One is that you and I can sleep. So when we are asleep, we are not cognizant of anything else that goes on. Somebody can steal my money and I wouldn't know. But I'm still there as a person that people can deal with. They can wake me up if there is an alarm and so on and so forth. Then comes a death. That's the next step. So as a death, you may not transact with me, but I'm at some other place transacting, right? So it's kind of like an extended sleep, if you may, and never to be coming back to the same form. Then you have Mahapralaya. And in Mahapralaya, everybody is asleep. Because in our second stage, some people were asleep, some people were awake.
But in Mahapralaya, everybody is asleep. But when they are asleep, they still have some semblance of, of mind and so on. All the karmas are still preserved. So when after 50 million years, when then wake up, you actually go back to the same one already, all over again. You're just extended your sleep for a while. So that is not a true dissolution for anyone. The true dissolution is through knowledge, through an understanding. Then you find that even Maya is, even ignorance is also nothing but me. And there is nothing else but me alone, which is Atma. I, not me, but I. And Atma alone is it. In which case, for you, there is no second one, and so on and so forth. Anyway, so we can discuss that. We'll continue it. We're running out of time. So, yeah. Okay, so we'll see you next week.